Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Paranoid Radio Podcast. Yo! Guess what, guys? I have great news. I have announcements to do. We are dropping. First of all, I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Now, check this out, guys. We are dropping bombs of knowledge daily on Rumble. Yes, all the old episodes are coming now. The vault is completely open before the government comes and steals all my shit, all my data. Actually, I just need to free up space on my fucking iPhone. That's the real truth. I need to put the shit somewhere else. So I'm putting it on Rumble for all of you guys, unedited, unfiltered, and unbothered. Make sure you check us out on Rumble. If you cannot find us on Rumble, go to paranoidradio.com, click on Rumble. It's the second little button, and you'll be able to find us and find all our collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out at paranoidradio.com. The most important thing that you can do for the show is word of mouth. Word of mouth is the most important thing you can do for the show. Check us out on paranoidradio.com. You see what I do there? I tell you one way, and then I tell you the other way because I'm insecure. Anyway, guys, I need you to please drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. And allow me to jump in from deep into the pool and set the mood. Striking with iron is hot. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to hostess. She is an amazing soul. She's been here plenty of times. She has collaborated with us and dropped bombs of knowledge, deposited into the bank of knowledge many, many times. This is the third chapter. Please give a warm welcome to Deplorable Janet from the Deplorable Nation podcast. Janet, how are you?
I am fabulous, other than we were discussing before the show that a bag of flaming hot Cheetos took a dump in my eyeball and I cannot get it to clear up. It wasn't really Cheetos, but yeah, my eye's very red today for some reason. So I am not digging it. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, man. I'm over here thinking, is the bag of hot Cheetos, when it takes a shit, is the shit spicier than the original hot Cheeto? Does it keep coming back?
Obviously, it would be very spicy because this has gone on all day today and it will not go away. So
I hope you feel better. You as a nurse, I would assume you know what to do.
Yeah,
lady.
well, it's just not working. So, and it doesn't itch, doesn't burn, nothing like that. It just is red. So, yeah. Got me a little Satan eyeball today.
I hope your eye gets better. Take a look at that. That could get very serious. Who farted on your pillow?
Well, you never know because there's animals and all kinds of stuff around here. So, yeah.
Janet, you are an angel. I really hope your eye gets fixed. Please let the people know where they can find you.
You can find Deplorable Nation podcast on every podcast program, Deplorable Janet, or on Twitter at NoJanet, KNOW.
That is right. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check her out on the Deplorable Nation podcast. She is all over the place. Check her out on Rumble. Guys, she drops the episodes we do together even earlier. So if you want to get a glimpse of that, make sure you check her out on Rumble. And then look at all the other stuff that she has. She has amazing content. Make sure you check her out on Rumble. If you can't find her there, you can also find her at paranoidradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are experiencing her life. We're going through the ups and downs, through this crazy guy that she was with. On the second chapter, she exposed to us how mentally insane, a schizophrenic, drug addict, and how abusive he was. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to follow up on that story. Mm-hmm. Janet, kindly continue.
As I said on the last episode, after he got in his near-death car accident, that changed his behavior and his demeanor, turned into a very aggressive person. He'd always always smoked marijuana ever since he was really young. But this is the period of time when he got into meth and heroin and coke and LSD. Literally anything he could get his hands on, he would do it. And also heavy drinking at the time. And so it was nothing for me to work a 12-hour shift, come home from work. He's passed out in the chair with 2 large bottles of Grey Goose vodka and a whole entire case of beer stacked into a pyramid next to his chair.
He got bored. I used to do that shit too. You just stack the fucking bottles and you get bored.
So mix, the drug cocktails that he was doing on top of the alcohol, and his behavior was very erratic, very crazy, and you never could predict what he was going to do. And so we may be, I would have to work really long hours, and I'd say, can you pick up our daughter? At the time, who was in daycare. And I would get home at midnight and I'm like, where is she at? Well, what do you mean, where is she? Well, you were supposed to pick her up. Where is she at?
Oh my God.
Well, obviously she's still at daycare. So paying over, past 5 o'clock or whatever for daycare, that didn't last very long because it was too expensive. And so I started having my parents watch her because I didn't have any other choice. Really, daycare wasn't an option because it was so expensive.
Yeah.
And so multiple times, like, he would not go get her or forget where he took her. He didn't know if he took her to his parents, to my parents. He had no idea. And so it was like hide and seek with my child as I'm working and trying to make a living. First,
and at the same time, you're battling with his addiction, battling with his actions, battling with his character, et cetera, and et cetera. Yeah.
Well, and during that time, I had started out, I had a business degree and I was running a business and stuff, hated that. So after my sister passed away, then I went to nursing school. And so that's when I was working at the teaching hospital, and it was really god awful long hours. It was horrible. Never knew when I was going to get off work. Loved the job, just did not like the hours. Couldn't make plans for anything. And so while all of his crazy is going on and him, putting the checkbook in the oven because I'd find it eventually, or losing the daughter and all of the crazy things, and then it would be like, I don't know why you don't ever mow the grass. Okay, well, I'll go out and mow the grass. And then he would yell at me because I didn't mow the grass in the correct pattern. And I'm like, didn't know it had to be mowed in a pattern, but okay. And it got to the point where his drinking was so out of control that he had, I like to call it sleep peeing, where he would get up in the middle of the night to go pee, and wherever he walked to while he was still asleep, that's where he thought the bathroom is. So he would literally piss in the closet. He would pee on the furniture. He'd pee in a dresser drawer, literally all the time. It was something. And if he wasn't peeing everywhere, then he, with the combination of the alcohol and the drugs, then he would vomit. And so I would come home from work and the wall would be sprayed with vomit or, whatever.
Oh my God.
During the same period of time, I started having health issues. I found a very large lump in my breast. And so I didn't trust anybody locally to take a look at it. So I went to the next biggest city And they're like, we're going to have to remove this and, do a biopsy. We don't know what it is, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, god awful tired and sick and just weak and whatever, dealing with him, working a ton of hours. Then this is going on. And so, got the results back from that. And they're like, well, it's benign. You don't have to worry about anything, but you have to come back every 6 months. Well, I will tell you, I had 8 removals done because they kept coming back and it kept coming back bigger and it was blocking ducts and whatever. And they're like, pretty sure you have cancer. And so you should get your stuff in order and whatever. I was told that twice.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And here's what it was. And it wasn't until the very last time that I had something removed. It was actually hormonal tumors that were forming thanks to birth control pills. Because at the time, I did not know any better. I was still indoctrinated, young, etc. And so birth control pills are what actually was causing all of these tumors and me being sick and weak and all of that other stuff. Chronic fatigue, couldn't function. And so they're like, here's a great idea. We're going to take you off the birth control pills. We're going to put you on Depo-Provera injections.
Okay.
Because like the bleeding was out of control, the tumors are out of control. So they put me on Depo-Provera injections, which I took for just a very short period of time. And it ate my spine. Ate all
my God.
all the bone in the lower part of my spine. And so my spine is actually held together with rods and pins and plates.
Okay. I got to take a pause right there. First of all, I would have respected him more if he pissed in the bed. I have to say that. I have to say it. Okay. Second,
he never pissed in the bed. It was always somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he always fucking walked away and pissed. Okay, I'm gonna piss in the closet today, like, stupid ass. Anyway, all right. And then second, okay, so I don't want to make this about anybody, but let me ask you a question. I know this is I shouldn't be asking this because I know this is your documentary, but there's a thing in the arm, the chip in the arm, the birth prevention, the baby prevention thing.
Right.
Does that also cause blood clots in your breasts and stuff like that? Tumors?
It certainly can, yes. And that is why at the time it was called Norplant. And because of the teaching facility that I worked for, which has a different name now, it's literally the same thing, just rebranded. We were actually a facility that the state approved to remove them because they would put them in people and they look like little matchsticks that would fan out. It was like 3 matchsticks. And they weren't supposed to move, but these things would travel. And so we would find like one up in somebody's armpit. There would be one in somebody's chest cavity. They're literally all over the place and causing massive health problems and stuff. So yes, birth control is not safe, and it is very infamous for causing all kinds of health issues.
Wow.
So twice. I was lucky enough to, have those things going on. And so with all of these things and his craziness and sporadic behavior and the health issues and stuff like that, I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I can't do this anymore, because it was Christmas time and he came home with a giant trailer. And I'm like, what the hell is that? He bought 2, not 1, but 2 snowmobiles fully
Mhm.
decked him out, had all kinds of chrome put on him, all kinds of stuff like that. Bought this fancy trailer, bought all the snowmobile gear. Didn't buy a single present for his daughter for Christmas, nothing. And he's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to go to Michigan and go snowmobiling. I'll be back in 3 weeks on Christmas Eve. And
What?
so he left. And as soon as the attorney's office opened after the holiday, I went straight in and I filed papers while he was gone. I'm like,
Janet,
I cannot do this anymore.
oh my God. Okay, so
Like-
first you said your spine is held by rods. When did they put those in?
I have had those in my back for 20 some 30 some years now.
Oh my God.
20
And then
25 years, I think.
So this dude on Christmas Eve, he decides to, he was giving you the signs. Now I just have to ask you this question. He was giving you the signs. He didn't even want to be with you anymore. He was giving you the signs. He never cared about the child. Like, what the fuck? And then you stayed there. Like, what made you stay there for so long, baby?
Well, you know what? I think I was mentally retarded. Because I was so blinded by, this is my person. I got married. I made a vow. These were my promises. Whatever. But I could only do so much. And he didn't think he had a problem. It was everyone else's problem. Everyone around him. His family was the problem. I was the problem. His child crying was the problem. Literally, everything but him was the problem. And I stayed until I couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want my child growing up in that. Like, I feel unsafe and I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I can't do this. And so did I stay because I had battered wife syndrome, like a lot of people will do? No. I stayed because I'm a caregiver, and I was like, I can do this. I can make this better. I can fix him because I knew him when he wasn't insane.
Yeah. You thought that you were going to be able to get that back from him. At least that that person that you met originally made you fall in love. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? There's a lot of women out there still living through this. Most important, as a grown woman, you're putting yourself through it. Yeah, okay. But you're also putting your kids through it.
Yes.
And that's something that you have to draw the line when it comes to your children.
Yeah. And I was lucky because when I left, she was 2. And so I was, after that, a single parent for a very, very long time. And, it was constantly a battle between me and him and the court system, because he's very narcissistic. He's very controlling, and he had a good job, mind you. He was a union electrician.
Okay.
Made a shit ton of money, journeyman. So they make lots and lots of money, but he was so good at working the system that every time we would have to go for a hearing for child support or health insurance or school or whatever the case may be. Oh, well, they don't have any work for me. So I had to take a job at a rock quarry. I only make $9 an hour. He was trying to get child support from me. And I had my daughter full time, because when I filed for divorce, he is so materialistic and so money driven that he wanted everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fight you over it. You can have everything because stuff can be replaced. The only thing I want is my child. He even wanted my car. He wanted my car. He wanted the towels, the silverware, everything. And I'm like, I just want her. You can literally keep all of that stuff. I don't need it. I don't want it. I can start over. and I'm going to do it. And he's like, you'll never amount to anything because you're just trailer park trash without me.
What a fucking dick. Fuck that guy, dude.
So I let him have everything. I didn't fight. I'm like, you know what? I don't need it. I just need her. She's the most important thing. He even wanted to keep her clothing.
That's low, bro.
So
that's fucking low.
We went to court a lot and had run-ins with not just the court, but Child Protective Services, the state police. Literally tons of agencies were involved because his first wife after me, that's when he got into manufacturing meth because she was a pharmacist. And so he was getting what he needed from her to make his meth. They would watch porn with my child, and she would come home and she would describe everything that went on, whatever. And I called CPS and they opened an investigation, and then they closed it really quick because they're like, oh, it's no different than you're walking in on your parents having sex. So there's nothing we can do. And then like he got arrested multiple times for drunk driving. She was in the car with him. The court was still on his side. I could not get any traction in the court system. Like nothing. It didn't matter what he did. He literally could have murdered somebody and they would have still allowed him to go free and be whatever. And of course, we talked about that before. He was connected. Yeah, he was very connected and very involved. And so even when he was trafficking drugs across state lines and all the things, and the state police knew he was under investigation and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden the investigation stops. They drop everything. Of course they do. And I mean, he's literally taking loads in his snowmobile trailer up to Michigan. And it's like... That's,
this is in chapter 1. I kind of hinted at he was a Freemason, he was well connected, or that this guy was probably... Not that I'm trying to glorify this fucking asshole, but he was probably connected well enough where he was probably working with the feds and he was rolling over people. Perhaps, maybe, we don't know.
He was definitely a Mason. Yeah. Him and his stepfather were Masons. And there was a particular point in time, like after we had split up, and my daughter was at his parents' house, his mom and his stepdad. And so I drove down to their house to get my child, take her back home with me. And while I am in the house talking to his mother, his stepdad went outside and cut a giant flap out of my tire and stole the license plate off of my vehicle. I called the police. Of course, nothing happened because, of course, he was a Mason as well. So you could have literally not just killed me, but also killed your grandchild. But
small town?
Yes. Very.
Small town, I assume? Yeah.
Yeah, very. Yeah. So everybody knew, everybody and all of that stuff. But as many times, and I think I told you in episode 1, but one of the times that like the state police and everybody was involved is because he was texting my daughter sexually explicit messages. I mean, very, very sexually explicit messages. And the state police, I took my phone in, or her phone, took it in. They, took note of everything that was on the phone or whatever. And then after that, it was like, oh, we're going to file charges against him and he's going to get arrested and whatever. And then, all that went away too.
That went away too?
Yes. Uh-huh.
This is fucking unbelievable, bro. Holy
And
shit, man.
this was the lead-in to him sexually assaulting our daughter, sexually assaulting neighbor children. Police reports were made. Agencies were involved. Multiple agencies were involved. Multiple police departments were involved. And he did not get a goddamn thing from that either. And so, in all honesty, it was very difficult for me not to pick up a gun and blow his head off. But I thought, you know what? I'm not going to allow her to not be without, or to be without a parent. I cannot let that happen. She still has to have direction and stuff. And I know, and we're going to get into a lot about my parents. We've already got into some of it, but I was like, there's no way in the world that I would do something to jeopardize and make it so she would have to live with my parents or his parents for that matter. So
The
it was
amount
really
of
difficult.
the amount of emotional intelligence that you have proven to have, lady, you are bananas. I would have probably already murdered that son of a gun. And
It
quite
was
frankly,
really hard.
yeah. And then knowing like, because if he's that well connected, the moment you did anything to him, they'll trace it back to you, and it could even be worse for your daughter. She'll grow up without both parents at this point because you'll go to jail for murdering somebody that well connected. It's a tragedy.
Yeah,
I
forever.
congratulate you for that win.
He's still literally to this day, like committing crimes, like theft of property. Like I've seen shit where he's been arrested and then the charges get dropped. Like all the time, theft of property and all kinds of stuff. And this man has never had to serve a day in jail, like ever, for anything he's ever done. Trafficking drugs, sexual assault of children, everything, drunk driving, everything. And he's never been held accountable. And so,
if it would have been another regular Joe, he would have been in jail for a lifetime. Quite
forever.
frankly,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just alone with the sex charges and the abuse, that alone was, man, that's fucking crazy.
And so, like being a single parent for a really long time, and then had all those health issues go on and whatever. And at the time, I was on his union insurance. And they made some changes. And before we ever got divorced, the insurance company came back and took back every penny they had ever paid on anything. I owed over $300,000 in medical bills.
They can do that?
They did.
What the
heck? They took back every penny because they're like, well, under our charter, whatever new guidelines they had or something, we only offer coverage to the employee and not the spouse or family because they were like, you didn't get a choice. They automatically took it out of your check. And it's a self-funded whatever. And that was their way of saving money. And so everything they paid, they retroactively took all of that money back.
I don't even know if this is a thing. What do you mean? Stupid. Like, what the fuck? Like, you were in his insurance while you guys were married. It's not like you were broken up and you were just fucking benefiting off of it. It wasn't fraudulent. Dude, this is wild, bro. What happened?
And
Did you get that shit back?
Well, some of the stuff and how I paid it is going to come in a later episode, but I also had to file bankruptcy because on top of him getting everything, I have to start over. I've got $300,000 in medical debt. I'm a single parent now. I've got attorney fees from the divorce. and it just mounted up, and it was the crazy amount. I mean, crazy amount of debt, like way over $300,000. The 300 was just medical bills. Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm over here crying about 15. And you're fucked, bro.
Yeah, it was really, really bad. And I think that was his way of like kiss my ass, sayonara, like good riddance to you or whatever. And since he said I was trailer park trash without him, I was going to prove that he was wrong about that, and I could make it on my own regardless of how much money I owed or what I had to do to pay that back. So
you got some balls on you, Janet. You got some balls on you, bro. Oh wait, ovaries.
I do have undescended testicles. No, I'm kidding. But like during all of this, my daughter, after we got divorced, started acting a fool. Insane. I swear to God, went from the sweetest angel to baby Satan overnight. And I know that a lot of it was her trying to deal with and process the traumas that she went through and the anger that he showed. And so she would lash out at me and be physically abusive, verbally abusive. She would literally try to beat the crap out of me for like 2 years straight. I was like, I could not do anything, to make her happy. She had like the temper at the time, like her dad. And I knew it was her processing. And of course, she's going to therapy and stuff. And they don't understand that this is an emotional trauma response. Right. And so therapy didn't help and whatever. And thank goodness she finally grew out of that. And I love her to pieces. And she actually, when she got into her like 17, 18 years old, she apologized for the way that she treated me while all that was going on. And I'm like, you know what? I know what you're going through. And I know like you were trying to process things and as a child, you don't know how to process it properly because adults still don't process trauma properly.
That's what I was about to say. I mentioned this on the woman episode, I'm sorry. How I was actually searching with foreclosure with my mother. Same thing. I recently had a conversation with her. I found her, conversated for about an hour and asked her for forgiveness. I asked her, like, you know what, you're going to have to forgive me for everything that I did as a child because I was also very rebellious. So, but it took me 33 years to do it.
Right?
You get me? I'm a full-on adult with 2 kids.
Yeah, and that's the thing because we don't process and we don't process correctly until our mind and God tells us, you know what, you need to let go of this. Like, get rid of this. Like, you can't heal, you can't move forward until. And that's why, like, I knew what was going on with her, but even the mental health professionals didn't understand it. So
you're leaving us on a cliffhanger here. You have nails in your spine, bro. You're $300,000 plus in debt. Your baby's going cuckoo crazy because she's emotionally lashing at you because of all the trauma. And then you yourself are probably going through a traumatic experience. You're still in shock. You're getting charges from left and right. The pressure's on and it's building on.
And I want to say this too, with the back surgery, I had, they couldn't do enough bone from me. So I had to have donor bone, and I had to have a bone stimulator implant put in my back, which they did take the pack out 6 months later, but they left all of the wires in my back. And so sometimes I set off airport scanners, or if they take x-rays of something at the doctor's office or whatever, it literally looks like a giant spider web hub in my back. And it's like all over my back. So, yeah.
Is that healthy? Can you walk?
There are times where one of those will move and like hit a nerve, and so it'll send like a and a shiver down my spine or whatever, or it'll move and like make my hip hurt or something like that. But it usually is very short lived. But yeah, so that's an everyday thing I get to deal with for the rest of my life.
It's funny. It's funny that you put that, because I had a short run with drugs recently. A couple months ago, right? I want to say like 5 months ago, 4 months ago, when I was really like, fucking crazy. And now that I'm sober, I'm gaining weight. I have like nasty pain on my shoulders and on my spine. So I think either it ate some of the bone, or it made my arthritis really kick in. Because now I get off the bed, bro, in the mornings at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like stretching like an old 60-year-old man. Like I can't get off the bed unless I swing. Like,
wait until you get to my age.
Like 1, 2, and then like
yes, I know how that is. I do that with the chair I sit in outside sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up. And it's a rocker. Thank God that it's a rocker chair, so I can get up. And then you stand up.
Yeah, my wife tells me, you make too much noise. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Rice Krispies popping and cracking all over the place. Mm-hmm.
The older you get, guys, you start popping. Your fingers start popping, your knees start popping, and that's when you start losing weight. You need to start look after yourself. Oh my God, Janet, this is a fun episode. Again, I connected on a personal level.
Well, I'm glad.
I changed it to Oreo ice cream. Stop, dude. Oh my God.
It's the sugar, man. Same thing, right? I'm telling you. It is the sugar. Yeah. But we all have our vices, and I am not one to judge.
Yeah.
Because I have my vices as
You know what I'm still using on my face, by the way? So I don't know if people know this, but I'm using that sand scrub thing that you gave me. I still have a lot of it. So I use it every night before I go to sleep. Oh my God, I got my color back. I feel my fins, my cutics feels very good.
It doesn't take much of that. It doesn't take much of that to clean your face or whatever. But yeah, it's good stuff. So, but I really
good stuff. Thank you so much for that gift. Okay,
you're welcome. I want to tell you thank you for letting me share my story, because even if it resonates with one person, I've done my job. You know what I mean?
Are you kidding me? Dude, you're giving me an amazing series. Everybody was going crazy for the Warriors series, and can I ask, Janet, dude, what the heck? She's right in front of me in my whole entire time. And I was like, she has to have some, like, if you told me that you're a nurse, you have to tell me work stories or something. I'm like, she interesting. I could see it in her face. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna hit her up. So no, thank you.
And it's funny because that I don't think you were expecting what you got from me.
If anything, for sharing, for opening up.
When I sent you that email, I think you were a little bit in shock.
I'm still waiting for those. I don't want to lights, because the whole thing is a highlight, obviously. But at your pace, you're giving me like the portions that I need to hear, right? But like, there's highlights there, guys, that are wild, that I would never expect. And hey, man, Peter rejected Jesus Christ 3 times. Who am I to judge? That's all I'm going to say.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, I need you guys to please check out Deplorable. Janet, let them know where they can find you.
You can find Deplorable Nation podcast on every podcast platform, plus on Rumble.
There's a massive
And
lag here.
you can also find me on Instagram at Deplorable Janet or on Twitter at NoJanet, KNOW.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Janet, for joining us one more time. Guys, I need you to check out paranoidradio.com. Word of mouth is the most important thing that you can do for the show. Drop a 5-star review on a podcast. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Okay, freaking StreamYard.
Paranoid Radio.